Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure that the volume worked and everything. Just so that way if nobody responded or let me know, at least I knew if there was something wrong. So I want to welcome everyone to Proceeding Onward in America, POA. And this is about what to expect when you're expecting while RVing. So it's a little bit different than normal. Because we're not living in a typical house and everything. So you have to have a little bit differences going on when you're RVing. You don't really have the space that you need when you have children and stuff like that. But we'll go through that as we go on through our episodes and through other, and we go through. Fabian, thank you for letting me know people in the house. I know, thank you. Or having a man child yourself. Okay. But anyways, so just want to say hello to everybody and thank you all the POA family and friends for joining us on our Saturday Night Live. We have a lot to talk about tonight, and if you missed last week's episode, it was talking about the beginning of why Fabian and I started RVing and the beginnings and everything else, what led us to where we are today. This episode, we will be talking about when we found out that we were pregnant up until about 12 weeks. Right now, we are about 20 weeks along, but I just want to talk about what changed during that first trimester as all the changes started happening, not just for our family, but within the RV and what we had to plan for. Because some people, when they're RVing, you do move around a lot. But there's also some doctor's appointments that are pretty important. So things that I didn't know about until I got pregnant. So I just want to go into that a little bit and so forth. And then we'll answer any questions and answer any questions that you all may have and so forth. And share some experiences. We do have a couple people that are in the chat, so I'd like to say hello to them before we get started and everything. So the first one in the house was Diary of a Family. Hello, they are full-time RVers as well, and they have children. So if there's anybody in the chat that would like to talk to them, feel free to ask them any questions, and I'm sure they'll answer as well. They're a traveling nurse family, so their lives are a little bit different than what I'm going through because I'm in the Navy, and Phoebe and I are both in the Merchant Marines. So it's great to have different perspectives from different job occupations that can happen while you're RVing and so forth. And right now, with me on Navy orders and Fabian work camping, it has helped everything work for us and what could possibly work for your family as well. So thank you for joining. And you also have John Chalker in the house. And thank you that I'm glad I sound perfect. I did have a mic on, and then I realized that the phone was about to die. What I'm recording off from. So I had to plug that in, so I can't use the mic right now. So I'm glad everything is going well, and I am doing great, and I'm feeling great. And then I also want to say hello to Dreaming Out Loud RVing. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining us and so forth. And we also have KT Spirit One bouncing on in. Thank you so much. And then we also have Fordman, aka Kenneth Oaks, in the house. Hello. So we'll probably have some more come in and out. I know it's a Saturday night. It's also Mother's Day weekend. So happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there and grandmas and all that too, because they were moms too. You know, you can keep on going that way. So happy Mother's Day to everybody. And really hope that your weekend goes well. Here at the campground that we're at, there's a lot of people. So if all of a sudden you hear like lots of noise, I'm so sorry. It's because it's so busy here this weekend and I don't have my mic on and so forth. So if you hear jets overhead, if you hear people driving by, I'm sorry. But hey, that's what camping's all about. And you just roll with it and so forth. So, oh, and thank you, Diary of Family, for saying Happy Mother's Day to me as well. Appreciate it. We had that discussion with Fabian actually, because he was like, the baby's not actually here. And are you technically really a mother? Are you technically really a father if the baby is not out in the world? And I looked at him and I said, yes, because technically the baby is inside me. It has a heartbeat. We've seen it kicking and punching and, you know, doing all the movements and everything else. I'm like, it's a real baby. And it's taking my nutrients right now. I'm feeding this thing. So, yes. Yeah. And Diary of Family says, yes, you are parents for sure. So, we're very happy that this will be our first one. I'll be a little honest with you. We did have a miscarriage in the past. And when that happened, it did hurt a little bit. It happened around 2019. And still to this day, it kind of hurts. But the great thing is we now have this little boy that's growing and thriving. And I just can't wait to see him again in another ultrasound on June 4th. That's when the next time I'm supposed to go in to see him possibly. But we'll go into those ones on another episode as we go further along into why I had to wait so long to see him again and so forth. But yes, it is what it is. And here we are. Oops, I was moving around and I knocked down the blanket. So let's see. I talked about what happened last episode. So if you like to go back, feel free to go back last week to see last week's episode. I know that our YouTube videos are mostly talking about us work camping in Washington State. So we worked at a campground last year up in Washington. And it was a great time. And we're showing you what we did for jobs and so forth. But now, and for tomorrow, we're going to be talking about some of the water activities that we did. We went kayaking, went fishing off a boat, and we also went rowing. We took out a rowboat. So that'll be our video for tomorrow. So I just want to throw that out there that even though you see those videos, it was all from last year, and this is more real time. So we're going to talk about this and go from there. So yes, Rainbow Baby, you made me smile when you said that. I feel actually once I had the miscarriage and I opened up to some people about it, I realized that you're not alone when you have a miscarriage. And I didn't really know if I wanted to bring that up to people and talk to people that I really don't know. Fabian was just like, don't tell people about it. But if there's anybody out there that's going through that or worried about it, just know that you're not alone. There's plenty of people out there that will help you and support you. People that you probably didn't even know that had miscarriages in the past. I'm not going to say those that reached out to me to let me know, but they certainly were a big help. And I really appreciate everybody that helped me during that time and helped Fabian. It really transitioned us and made us think more about how we wanted to live our future. And that's actually probably one of the reasons why we knew we wanted to get ready before the baby. And that's why we bought this big fifth wheel RV. We were going to try bearing it in the 19-foot travel trailer that we had. We were just going to roll with the punches. And then when we lost the baby, we realized that we wanted to be more financially stable and being prepared for the next one. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. That's why we went out to sea for a while. And then we ended up getting myself on Navy orders for so long to help be financially ready to have insurance. Medical insurance is another thing that people worry about while they're RVing. And you can get it through KOA. We do work through KOA. However, you can only do it through the corporate KOA. If you work for a franchise KOA, they don't really offer any medical benefits. The corporate, you would have to work there for around 3 months at least prior to having eligibility to be able to have health insurance through them. The last campground that you actually saw, if you watched last week's episode, up in Washington State, I believe it was about a month or so, if I remember correctly, before you could get on health insurance and so forth. So each campground is a little bit different depending on who you work for and if what type of company it is. So if you're looking for health insurance, there is other ways around it. We're trying to do it through jobs. Right now I'm on Navy medical, and if I get off orders for some reason during this time frame, Fabian's working at a corporate KOA right now, and we'll just roll into him and we'll just have him pick up some medical and we'll go through that way. But right now, Navy medical will help me through this at this time. And yeah, that's a little background story, because that's one thing that you need to think about while you're RVing is medical. You're going to have appointments. You're going to have things that come up, and you just don't know. For John Chalker, yes, you are technically a mother the minute you conceive. So I won't discuss when that happened. You don't need the details on that, but yes, I believe so, and so forth. I just said, hey, once the baby has a heartbeat and everything, I feel it's more of a baby. I know the fetus and all that before then, it's still developing into a baby, but you can still be pregnant, and like myself, when it happened, still be pregnant, but the baby didn't grow inside me. So my body was still acting to pregnancy as if I was having a baby, but there was no baby. So until I see the baby with heartbeat, that's where I usually start. And everybody's different, but that's just my personal opinion from my past experience. I will be very real. I want this to be fun. I want this to be exciting. And here I am, like, opening up a whole storyline that you guys never knew about in the past. So thank you for joining me on this journey and talking. It almost feels like a counseling session. And that was Jag. He's okay, I promise. If you heard him. But anyway, so I'm going to talk about our first 12 weeks and RVing and how we got to almost about where we are now, give or take. So as most people already know, first 4 weeks or so, give or take, you don't really know that you're pregnant. You do, if you're conceiving, doesn't mean that the first time you do it, it actually happens. There's some people that are wicked lucky and they are able to just go on and they're pregnant as can be. That was not our case. We tried for a little bit, and then eventually I learned certain apps to use to find out the right timing of when to do certain stuff, when to have those moments. And it worked. And I found out in January that we were pregnant. So it was after a little bit after New Year's and so forth. I had stopped drinking and everything else prior to that. I started taking prenatal vitamins. I want to say around October time, around the end of October, when we pretty much got this fifth wheel, is when I started taking prenatal vitamins. So I've been taking them prior. I still take them now. If you really want to know what they are, I can tell you what they are. But any of that is fine. And I'm having a raid. So most of you guys missed the first 10 minutes of me really opening up about some really personal stuff, but I really appreciate everybody that just came in. I'm just going to say hi to everybody real quick, and then I'll go into the rest of it. So hello, Bob from Blue Wave Odyssey. Thank you for joining us. And Dan, the Vintage RVer. Yay, thank you for joining us as well. So I appreciate you two coming over from Captain Jack Scrapper and rating and so forth. If you really want to know some real personal stuff, feel free to after this live see what I talked about. Some things that most people don't know about, but anyways, it does deal with pregnancy and so forth. And yeah, so the first 4 weeks you don't really know you're pregnant, then all of a sudden you do that test because the missed time of the female flow, and you go and you find out you're pregnant and you make an appointment. So if you're RVing and everything, and you may have missed I feel weird saying this with a bunch of guys, but when you miss that time of the month, when flow does not happen, or your redheaded cousin, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. So you just got to know that you got to be in an area to be able to go see a doctor. And that's where the medical comes into, what I covered about before. And you just go see the doctor, and they'll probably they'll have you do a test to make sure again, and then they'll have you do an ultrasound. And that's usually about 6 to 8 weeks when they'll let you come in. They don't want to do it too early, but they don't want to too late. For me, this time around, we ended up doing it at 10 weeks because they were so full. They weren't able to get me in until 10th week. So we had to wait 10 weeks till we got to see the baby, which was kind of cool in a way because he was really moving at that time. We didn't know it was a boy at the time, but we now know. And he was just punching and kicking. So I feel it was really exciting seeing him at 10 weeks, where if you see him at 6 weeks, I don't think they really have that much capability of moving. I'm not a doctor, but I believe by looking at all the books and everything, they don't flutter around as much. So I feel it was more special seeing him at 10 weeks and knowing everything was fine. And we have a couple more people that came in and so forth. I want to say hi. Yeah, Miss Your Flight. Hi. Yeah. We have Nurse here, Travel Bug. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining us and so forth. So earlier I talked about Diary of Family being here and so forth. Nursing or Travel Bug is another nursing travel family with children. So feel free to ask them any questions if you have any questions. Maybe one day I can have some guest panel up here, and we can talk about having children in the RV, because right now I don't know what it's like to have a child inside the RV, besides that's inside me. It's a little bit different. So I'd love to see their perspectives and give their perspectives to others, and anybody else that has children while RVing, that'd be great as well. And Dan, the vintage of RVer sonogram. Yes. So that one definitely happened. There was also another way to find out. 10 weeks was a little too early because things are not developed at that time. But around 10 to 13 weeks or so, they usually have you do a genetics testing. Mostly if you're at the age of 35 or older, they rarely recommend it. I'm over the age of 35, truth be told. And they were like, hey, there's 3 ways of testing. But there's this one way that's really not invasive and not really like going to cause too much of a miscarriage. And they just draw blood from your arm. And I was like, okay, totally can do. I used to donate blood all the time as a child, and I have an A negative blood type. So I'm just like, just take it. Let's go. And so them just taking some blood, they were able to genetically tell me if anything was wrong with the baby, which there isn't at this time. The tests, are not always 100% correct, but at this time, there's nothing wrong with the baby. And that's when they were able to find out if it was a boy or a girl. So if you get that done before your sonogram around 18 to 20 weeks, when they have another one for the anatomy scan and they do all the fun stuff, which Junior was not really good at participating in, which I'll get to another time. He really was not participating in that ultrasound. He would, if he could have, he would have flipped that technician off. Let's put it that way. But we were able to find out that he was a boy that way as well. So there's 2 ways for confirmation. But yeah, so there's also in the beginning, before all this jazz happens, after you find out you're pregnant and everything. And I'm overweight to begin with, but they have you do this glucose testing. So it's like a drink that you drink. There's 2 different ones. The first one, if you pass it, you don't have to do the second one. So the first one, you just take this drink. It's either lemon lime or some orange flavor. I think I did the lemon lime. I don't even remember right now. Either way, it was gross, horrible. you have to drink in 15 minutes, and then like eventually they can take blood from you. But I peed in a cup anyways. And then you have to wait an hour. So an hour later, you can finally figure out if you're good to go or not. And if you're not good to go, then you go back for another one, another day. You have to fast, and this is like a 3-hour long one. So that's something that you got to think about when you're RVing as well, is not only do you have to worry about ultrasounds, but there's also testing that you got to do, like that glucose testing. You may have to be near a doctor to be able to do that testing. And if you fail the first one, you got to be near another doctor for that 3-hour testing one, which isn't that much fun, but I don't have to worry about it. I passed flying colors on the first one. But yeah, that just checks your sugar level and everything else. Because if you if you are diabetic or have increased possibility of getting diabetes as you're pregnant, I forget the actual name for it. I know it starts with a G, but I'm having that moment that I can't remember. But anyways, as you get bigger, which is a concern for myself because I was already overweight to begin with. If I gain too much weight or have too much sugar or whatever else, I can get diabetes while I'm pregnant. So I really had to watch what I eat and drink and so forth, which I did pretty good. Not perfect, but yeah. So there's that. And then what else? Oh yeah, see, Diary of the Family, hated that drink too. Yeah, it's horrible. I don't know if orange would have been better. I think I did lemon lime. I don't know. Anyways, it's gross. It's gross. And oh, people are traveling through. Hey. Yeah, so Nursing on Travel Bugs is in Sedona right now. So they're surprised that their internet's working. They're traveling along the road right now. And I guess Bob is going to be leaving soon for Niagara Falls. It is beautiful up there. Quick question. Are you going to be trying to stay on the American, or are you going to try to like see if you can walk across? Because I still don't think you can drive across yet to Canada. I don't think the border's open, but if you can walk across, highly recommend. Canadian side is way better. We also do have some videos of our East Coast trip from our first season. So if you check out our first season, you can probably find some places where you can RV camp or things to do. Definitely in Maine. Maine was a lot of fun. We spent a while in Maine. So double check those videos for season 1 if you're looking to do some stuff in New Hampshire and so forth. But yeah. Just wanted to get that out there. I hated the purge liquid from the colonoscopy. little fun time. In a couple of years, Fabian has to start doing that. Yes, we're older in our lives. So he'll be doing that pretty soon. So he can go round 1 on that. Okay, perfect. You're gonna be you'll be doing the American side. Yeah. If the Canadian side is ever open, I highly recommend it. And that's where Fabian and I actually did a zip line down alongside the falls and everything. It wasn't like along the falls, but you get to like zip line on down and see the falls, and it's really cool. That was a fun time. And Maine lobster, yes. Oh yes. Totally. Okay. So we talked about the first couple of things of doing that ultrasound, the glucose test. I won't lie, for keeping a secret from the family, it was really kind of hard to do. Definitely a lot of my friends and so forth, that I needed support for the first beginning couple of weeks or so, because I was still nervous about what happened from when I had the miscarriage. So when you have a miscarriage and then you try for another one, your mind, it gets a little scared. Mine was a little bit more scary in my sense, because Junior was around the same time frame magically as when I had the first miscarriage. So every week was around the same week. And when we got to about week 5 or 6, when I miscarried on the first one, it really hit hard. And when I couldn't see Junior until the 10th week, there was a good month. It was really hard on me. What I found helped was make Facebook statuses. Now, you can change the Facebook statuses to just private or to whomever you just want to include. Most people know this, but if you don't know, you can do that. And I did that with Fabian, and it helped us grow together a little bit. Now, since everybody has known, I have opened those back up because I love to one day, if people ever go through my page and if they want to on Facebook, they can see the stories of how everything went. Days I felt great, days I didn't feel great, and they can see the story of how everything went, instead of it just being closed off for me, because I felt it helped me and maybe it could help others. So now everything's kind of open, wide open. It's being streamed live right now. So Facebook statuses was private. Some for Fabian and I now are open. I talked about having the first ultrasound. And actually, I would love to show you the photo of Junior, the first time we ever got to see him. And if you weren't here from the first time we found out about us having a baby, we found out on my birthday a couple weeks ago, and it was a great surprise because we didn't know. And that's the one thing I wanted for my birthday, was to find out if we had a boy or girl. The doctor called when my parents were here, or our family, it was all our family actually, was here, and the doctor told them what it was, the gender was. And then we did the gender reveal on my birthday. And that's when we found out it was Fabian. That's when we found out it was a boy. And we are naming him after Fabian. So I call him Junior a lot now, just to help distinguish it, so people don't get confused right now. But I would love to share with you my screen. And let me get there real quick. Window. Boop. And share. Yay. It's a little sideways. Here we go. Do that. There we go. Hope you guys can see it okay. But there is Junior at 10 weeks. And his little arm, or his little feet are right. I tried poking it with my finger, and you guys can't see my finger. So his feet are right up here, and his head is down here. I probably have him upside down. I definitely have him upside down, but whatever. But yeah, we could see his little arms punching. You could see his legs kicking, and it was magical. We were not able, however, to hear the heartbeat, unfortunately, on that ultrasound. So they tried to. They did the ultrasound on top, and they couldn't really get a good measurement and so forth. So they had to do another way of seeing him, and it went up the other direction. So that way they could actually see the baby. And that's why the baby picture looks so clear, because they didn't do on the top of my tummy. They went inside, and then they were afraid because of how many weeks it was. They didn't want to do the other device on top because they said because of radiation wise and so forth. I'm not really sure. So when the wand was there inside, they just did the reading inside, and his heartbeat was around 168. I'm going to get a quick drink real quick. Sorry. It's one of the side effects that I realized is the first trimester I had a lot of saliva, and now it's the second trimester. My mouth is either gone back to normal, or it seems more dry than normal. And I can't drink just normal water. I have to have flavored water. So Junior is Gucci because I can't have water. I had to have something flavored. So I feel that also makes me more thirsty because it's not just quenching my thirst. I have something else mixed in it, and it's like no sugar added type of whatever drink packets into it. Still probably not healthy, but I need something. But yeah, that was Junior on the first one. And like I said, we couldn't hear the heartbeat. We did, however, get to hear the heartbeat right before my birthday. I don't have that video up on for this one, but for the next live stream, I'll do Junior's heartbeat for you all. So that way you can hear it and so forth if you never really experienced it. We did show it, or we did play it for the live stream on my birthday. So if you did see the live stream on my birthday, you got to hear the heartbeat then too. It is really magical. It makes me happy and so forth. I'm going to take a quick moment and read what you all had to say and so forth. Oh, they talked about some colonoscopies and so forth. I know. It's so funny. I love it. Okay, so this one. The mental battle when losing one and trying again can be like wondering when you might have a heart attack. I love you too. Yes. It was very hard, and definitely with the same time frame. And it was really hard when it came to February 28th, because that's when I had to do the D&E or DNC with the first one. And then March 1st of 2019 was when everything was done and over. And then March 1st of this year was the first time we could actually see the baby. So it was really hard. February was a hard month. Just being honest with that. But now March 1st doesn't have a bad memory for me anymore, if that makes sense. So it's good in a way, but in a way it's hard. And y'all saying like the precious. Yes, I know, he's so precious. I can't wait to be able to have more experiences of show you the baby as he develops and so forth. I did have an 18 to 20 week scan. It was unfortunately a little too early, so my days are off, I guess. When they calculated it out, they put it at the very beginning when they thought 18 weeks was for me. However, it was like off by 3 days, and they had some issues actually getting what they needed. So I had to go back June 4th. And then everyone's saying very cool and all that. So appreciate that. And have fun eating dinner, Bob. Hopefully it tastes good. And say hello to Debbie. And then, wait, what? Labor 30 minutes. Our number 2 was spotted laying back in a launch chair having a margarita. Labor is 30 minutes. I hope my labor is only 30 minutes. I have a feeling it's not going to be 30 minutes, but hey, that'd be really cool if it was. So yeah, I appreciate everybody staying with me for this real life talk of what really life can happen. I know it's not all about just RVing with a child. I'm also trying to be open with everybody. Like last week, I did like how Fabian and I met and how we wanted to begin full-time RVing. So I'm kind of building up a storyline. So if you really want to get to know us, it's not just sound like real doctorish. It's not really sounding like I'm reading off these papers and making stuff up or whatever. I want you to see like the real lives and like we are real people and so forth. And maybe one day Junior can watch these videos and he can see all the things that happened and so forth. So that's mostly why we're doing these. So I appreciate everybody that's here helping us out or watching and seeing our journey as we progress through. And I really would love to have in the future some guest speakers to just pop into the live stream and talk about their experiences. You don't have to get as personal as mine. It's not required. That is not required whatsoever. But I would love to ask questions or have other people ask questions and so forth. about RVing with children and what it's like and what to expect and so forth. Does anybody have any questions for me before I start talking again? I want to give you guys some time to put that in so when I take my next break from what I'm talking about, I can answer some of your questions because I'd hate to run out of time and not be able to answer them for you. So Dan says, I want to see how Fabian learns to sleep sitting up in a chair during the delivery. Well, if Fabian had his way, he would have his camera right up my woo-ha and showing you everything during this whole entire procedure. And he'll be like, hey, it's at this many centimeters. It's like 2. It's a 5. It's, I don't know. He would totally do that if he could. And I'm not going to let him. I'm not going to let him know that. Oh, hey, Tisha. So I am feeling well. I've had a couple moments where like some aches and pains and so forth, but I believe it's just because my belly is really expanding. I entered month 5 this weekend, so I'm halfway there, and haven't really gotten any for the first trimester, which we're mostly talking about. I really didn't have any morning sickness. I maybe got sick 5 times. I think I was sick more the second trimester than I was the first trimester. But I gained a lot of weight the first trimester, whereas the second trimester, I haven't. I've kind of broken even or I lost a pound or 2. So I think my first and second trimester are a little flip-flop. But yeah, I'm feeling great. I do feel like I felt the baby move a couple days ago. It was just a random moment right in the middle, and it just went boom, boom, boom. And that's all it was. And I was just like, is that it? I don't know. So when he starts kicking and moving, and I can actually show you guys, or like him like pressing up or anything like that, totally will have those videos for you guys. Right now, it's not that exciting. Half the time, I don't think I'm even pregnant. And that's the honest truth. I don't even feel pregnant half the time. Besides me getting fat and a couple like things expanding, yeah, I think I'm just a normal person. So tiredness happens. But that's that. All right. So I'll go back to some more of this stuff before I get too sidetracked. And then I'll go back into the chat and everything. So yeah, so I talked about the first ultrasound, my clothing, along with the weight gain. So I was perfectly fine until about weeks 8 or 9. And then I started not being able to fit in my clothes anymore. So that's pretty early for some people. Usually it comes later on in the pregnancy. So like I said, I gained a lot of weight in the beginning. I gained, oh goodness, probably like 15 pounds the first trimester and maybe like a week or 2 in the second trimester. 15 pounds. Most people, like by week 20, they've gained like 5 or something ridiculous. I gained 15 before I was even at week 20. So yeah, so I started gaining a lot of weight. And the funny thing is, for my Navy uniform, I was holding back because I was trying not to let people really know that I was pregnant. I didn't want to buy the maternity pants right away. So for the buttons, I legit like took my hair ties and I put it around my button and then fed it through the loop. And and that's how I had my pants closed for my for my uniform, just using hair ties. I had a couple of hair ties and the belt on top, and there we go. I eventually, around week 13 is when I broke down and bought maternity clothes and so forth. But for a couple weeks there, it was a little hairy. Probably some hair from my hair tie in it too. But anyways, it wasn't good. And sidetrack story, I was working underneath a 2-star admiral for about 2 weeks in March. And while I was there, that's about the time I transitioned from my hair tie pants into maternity pants. And I'm sitting there, I'm working and so forth. And he's looking at me every day, kind of like, okay, there's something different about her. And I'm real around 13 weeks is when I popped, and like I looked like I was 6 months pregnant at 13 weeks. So I'm sitting there and I'm typing away on my computer, and there's a stand that the computer can be on, but I had to stand down instead of up. And he comes walking over to me. He's like, you can totally take that stand and lift up the computer. It'd be easier to type. And I go, yes, sir. I know, but I'm good. I don't mind it being right there. And he's like, are you sure? He's like, because it really help you. And he's really adamant about me lifting up the desk up higher. And I'm like, well, sir, if I put it up higher, my belly's going to be in the way. And he just looks at me. And like I said, he's a 2-star admiral. I look him straight in the face and I go, but sir, I could always just put the baby on top and just plop it there. I know that some of you guys don't know understanding the ranks and all that in the Navy, but a 2-star admiral is like way up there. And I'm like way down here. And I'm just telling this big old boss that I'm just going to plop my belly on top of a computer and just work that way. He was just like, I didn't want to say anything. I had a feeling, but I didn't want to say anything. And then he walked away. So fun little story. I will always remember that moment, but not too many people can walk up to a 2-star admiral and just be like, this is what I'll do, sir. Because you're so adamant. But anyways, sidetracked for a moment. Sorry. So yeah, started gaining a lot of weight. So I can't really drink water. I had trouble with orange juice for a little bit, and coffee. Coffee tasted horrible. Like, it had a metallic taste to it. And then eventually, sometime throughout the second trimester, it changed, and I was able to start drinking a little bit of coffee. I don't do a lot. I do like a little 12-ounce cup or so. It's always homemade, so it's not like you go somewhere and you don't know what the caffeine level is. So that's probably why I'm really wound up nowadays, because I can drink coffee again. As for food cravings and all that, usually people are like, hey, you start craving a lot of foods. I did, but I didn't. I think my first one was like a Big Mac, and that was because I just kept seeing on TV. Yeah, I'm looking at the TV, like you guys can see me looking at the TV. The TV's off. But I was watching the TV, all you saw was Big Mac commercials. Like, I want a Big Mac. So I went and had a Big Mac one day, and it tasted horrible. And I never want to have a Big Mac ever again. Then my next cravings were French fries. I was like, okay. So I had some French fries. I did it like 3 times, and now I never want to go back to those places and eat French fries. So every time I had a craving, never really wanted to eat it ever again. And then there was mac and cheese. Then I started realizing I really wanted salty foods. Big Mac was kind of salty. French fries are salty. Mac and cheese is really salty. But yeah, so those are my cravings. And then that I was kind of like out of the box with. And then the rest of them were just like, I want homemade, like mom type cooking food. So food that my mom used to make when I was growing up that normally people don't cook. Like egg noodles with cheese, with Parmesan cheese and like ranch dressing with steaks and green beans. Like, that had to be all together. It couldn't just be egg noodles. No, it had to be egg noodles with some steak and green beans. It had to be exactly that. Or it had to be exactly another type of thing. Like, it was exactly what I had growing up for certain meals. That's mostly what I was craving a lot, was this homemade mom cooking. Lately, I had like the chicken craving. There's like a new chicken sandwich from McDonald's. It's just selling me. I had it. I tried the spicy one. It wasn't bad, but now I don't want it anymore. So I don't know. One and done. Oh, and cucumbers. Cucumbers with mayonnaise, salt, and pepper. Has anybody had that before? I love it on a sandwich, or I can just sit there and just like cut up the cucumber, put it down, plop some mayonnaise on top, salt, pepper, and I'll just sit there and eat it. And I'm just like, yep, this is my life right now. Cucumbers with mayonnaise. That's really good. So those are pretty much my cravings right there. And then Oh, there's a couple people that had to leave. So KT Spirit, thank you for stopping by. Feel free to join us every Saturday night at 7:30 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and so forth. And I'll have some more stuff throughout the weeks, different topics and so forth, which I will start talking about pretty soon because I know my live stream is going to be ending pretty soon. So I want you all to know what's going on. And just reading some of your comments. Yay, halfway there. Yay, I know. I'm so excited for being halfway there. Really can't wait to see the baby again. Yes, Dana Vintage RVer. No one can tell you what it's like to be a parent. There's something you'll learn to love and be able to nod to other parents about it. And just know you both are in it to win it. Exactly. That is very true. Like my pregnancy, like I know many people that were sick day in and day out with morning sickness. Only time I got sick was really if I had too much breaks between eating. So if I had a light breakfast, a lunch, and then didn't eat dinner till like 10 o'clock at night, I got sick because I didn't snack in between. Where other people, they couldn't eat, period, and they're just getting sick. So no one can really tell you what your pregnancy is going to be like either, and just like they can't tell you what it's going to be like being a parent. But we can all share experiences. So maybe if there's that person that's kind of like me, knows that it's okay that just because you don't have morning sickness does not mean that you're not pregnant. And that was one of my concerns when I was going through it. Fabian's like, you wish to be sick. I'm like, yes, at least I'd feel pregnant if I'm getting sick right now. Because that's what all the books say. Morning sickness is common. Why am I not common? I'm not a common person, apparently. So my experiences are not that common. And some of my friends are just like, well, you're lucky. And I'm just like, but I wish I knew because then I'd feel normal. Do I want to feel normal to know that I'm pregnant? Yeah. Okay, you want to puke some more? Here you go. Don't eat. Here you go. So that was my problem. I did not try stop eating. I promise you that. It just work days got long sometimes. So yeah. Oh, and certain smells. Whew. Ladies, perfumes and your smells and spraying the bathroom after you leave. Oh man, it's okay. We're humans. You don't need to like spray and douse the bathroom with whatever perfumes. That was horrible. Luckily I haven't had any of those issues lately, but certain smells, mostly perfumes, or certain thoughts. Like I'll think of something and I'll be like, oh, that's really gross. And then I'm like, oh, that's really gross. Oh, okay. Let's not think about that no more. Mind game right there. And so forth. And yes, mac and cheese. Mac and cheese is great. It was the Kraft mac and cheese. And like, then there was a spiral mac and cheese that I really craved. Now I just don't care. So, good Lord. May the crazy prego taste test begin. So the weird thing is, it's supposed to be around your second trimesters when you really not have pregnancy cravings or they start weaning. So like I kind of missed that boat, but I kind of have those moments like I don't want to sit there and just eat pickles. Like everyone's like, oh, pregnancy pickles. Yeah, we had some pickles in the house. It was a great late night snack because it was simple. Was I craving it? No, I didn't care. But yeah, ice cream with hot sauce. Yeah, no. I do have ice cream. I had ice cream the other night. I wanted it like a banana split. So whenever I have ice cream, I want like a banana in it. And we don't have sprinkles or any chocolate sauce or anything. So I'll just do a banana with ice cream. With we right now have that whipped topping to put on top. If we didn't have that, I still want a banana with my ice cream. And how about cake? So not really a cake fan. Did the cupcakes for my birthday, but no, I haven't had any sweets. It's mostly been salty type of things. And I believe I read somewhere that usually when you have a boy, you crave more of the saltier things, and when it's females, you crave the sweeter things. So I believe that's correct what I read. But anyways, that's all out the bag and all wrong anyways, because they even say like the heartbeats, if it's a higher heartbeat, it's supposed to be a girl. Junior is still a high heart rate. When we last went for it, it was like around 149 about a week or two ago when I went for that ultrasound. And was it 149? I think it was around 149. And that was still pretty high. Fabian just came in, and that's his radio. So don't mind that little talk going on. But yeah, so in the beginning it was around 168 or 164. And they're like, oh, that's around the heartbeat for a female or for a girl. And here I am with a boy. So I used to say it does not always mean all those little fairy tale, or not fairy, folklore doesn't mean it's always true. But there's that. And that's how I like garden fresh tomatoes. I don't know how. Wait, you asked about cake, and then you mentioned about tomatoes. I don't know how cake and tomatoes go in, but I'm wondering if it's because I talked about cucumbers. I really hope so, because if you went from cake to tomatoes, that'd be really weird. And Dan, the vintage RVer's wife, liked steaks. Apparently, she likes wooden steaks. No, I'm kidding. I saw your correction later. Even in the middle of the winter. Yeah. I'm lucky that I'm pregnant. I guess I don't know if it's lucky or not, because I'll be really pregnant in August. I'm due in September. So July, August, and September during the hot months, I'm going to be like bigger than big. So I don't know which. At least it'll be nice for if I crave some steaks, Fabian can go outside. But there's that. Okay, and I think I have covered pretty much everything that I had notes for. I do have a cute little video of Jag and me. That's one thing that he does when I'm pregnant, and I think it's really cute, and I would love to share that with you all. And then, yeah, so thank you for verifying. Oh no, don't tell. No, you don't like cake. Yeah, I don't like cake. Should have sent you. Shouldn't have sent you one. Oh, so that bun cake that you sent and everything, that was fine. Because the icing and everything worked well for it. It's just, I don't know. There's just certain cakes. We like pies more. We like cheesecake. But just normal like cake with tons of frosting on top, it's not really our thing here. Anyways, for us. All right, so I would love to show this cute video real quick before the time is up. I have about 5 more minutes. I'm trying to find it real quick. 1 second, and then we'll wrap things up. Would Jaggy like to give the baby kisses? Huh? You want to say hi to the baby? Yeah. Okay. Look. Oh, you're good. Oh, it's a good boy. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Bye. So that was Jag. He comes over and kisses my belly and so forth. Just wanted to share that with you all because it's really cute, and I love when he comes over. He begs to come over to give the baby a kiss in the morning when we wake up and stuff like that. And I wanted to share that with you all. And I'm glad. Thank you, Tisha, for joining us today, and that you're welcome for the updates. And I'm glad you got to see Jag, hopefully. And hello to Michael and Bella's Travel Channel. Thank you for joining us. We're about to wrap it up, so feel free to watch from the beginning if you want to learn a little bit more about what I talked about tonight. And next week, we'll be talking about starting the second trimester, some of the things that I've learned, and also about more of the doctor's appointments, which goes along with what I talked about in the beginning of this segment of health insurance and doctor's appointments. And when you're full-time RVing, how you got to get around that, and some of the options that we found for getting health insurance and everything else while you're RVing. Hopefully that will help with anybody else and so forth. And yes, Let me know if you have any questions. Start putting them in the chat as I'm wrapping this up. So that way by the time it cycles through, I can read your question and answer before I end up logging off for the night. So tomorrow, I do want to say again that we have another video coming up. We have another video coming out tomorrow night around 6 p.m. Eastern. It'll be about some of the water activities that Fabian, myself, and Jag even participated in while we were over in Washington State. Some of the fun things that we got to do and so forth. And then last week we talked about work camping. So if you're interested in work camping, make sure you check that video out. So that way you know what it's like to possibly be a work camper. So if you are RVing and you need to settle down because you're about to have a child or you have a family and you need something more secure, look into work camping and so forth. Yes. And Nursing a Travel Book says, hi, Fabian Sr. He waved back and so forth. But yeah, are there any questions before I log off? Next week, we will be talking about some more baby stuff, and I will try to see if anybody wants to be a guest appearance in the next couple of weeks showing up. One of the reasons why I texted Nursing Our Travel Bug earlier, I didn't really get to finish that conversation. I'm glad that you're traveling and everything's going well. But hopefully maybe one time you all can come in. I know Diary of the Family were in here earlier. Would really appreciate it if maybe they can give their input sometime. And anybody else that's full-time RVing with children or thinking about full-time RVing with children and that might need some answers to any questions they may have, let me know. I will also do this. I have a email address. So if you have any questions, feel free to email us at poavlog@gmail.com. And if you haven't yet, make sure you please subscribe, like this video, and make sure that you keep proceeding onward in your adventures. Since I don't see any more questions or anything else, I want to say thank you all, and we'll see you next week at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Saturday night. Happy Mother's Day to you all, and enjoy your weekend. Until next time. Bye-bye.